You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. Oh, feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
It's a faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who? A fun mashup celebrating nearly 50 years of Doctor Who universe. Hold tight. You never know where the TARDIS is going next.
Who are you?
I'm glad you asked that again. Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe. Now please, get off this planet while you still have a choice.
Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Earth Station Who podcast. That's right, the first episode of 2019. We can not believe it. It's shocking that we're here in 2019. And, I've already written 2018 on at least 3 checks. It's just like, oh, yeah, got to change that. And it's only the 2nd of January. So
who writes checks? Yeah, I was going to say, you still...
Okay, so I'm not the only one that thought that, right?
Hey, some people I work with, and have to pay, like getting checks from me. So,
what is wrong with
you? And we're recording on the Commodore 64, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Because I had to log in and go, welcome to AOL.
And your point being, this is a time travel show. We talk all about that type of thing.
Live from Radio Shack.
Exactly. Radio Shack called. They want the 70s back, right?
All of it.
Dude, exactly.
79 and 78. Do not leave anybody behind.
Exactly. So, we're going back to the future, Marty. So it's going to be kind of awesome to talk all about Doctor Who. We had a great New Year's special. Can't even call it a Christmas special anymore. So we are going to be talking all about Resolution, and we got a great crew to talk all about it tonight. But remember, if you haven't watched it yet, we are going to be spoiling it. So, be prepared.
How exciting. Spoilers.
All right, you've been warned. Let's say hey to...
Run, scatter.
Run, scatter. We got a great crew, though. Let's welcome, of course, Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy, New Year.
How are you this year so far, sir?
I'm great. I thought the 2018 season of Doctor Who went by fast, but the 2019 season just flew by. Like, exactly. I can't believe it's over already.
It felt like it was over in 90 minutes,
It just was shocking how fast it went by. So, yeah.
60 seconds.
Crazy.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing how, fast it went. But, speaking of fast, Mary's here. Hey.
Hi. Wait a minute.
Oh, I was waiting to see if she caught on to that one.
Wow.
Happy New Year, Mary.
It's an exciting year already.
Exactly. We're going to be shocking you this season with all kinds of cool stuff for 2019. We better, because,
new sexy Doctor Who podcast.
Oh, my.
Exactly. I don't know about that.
So we're getting 3 new hosts?
Exactly.
Right.
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Exactly. I'm happy to tell you this will be our last episode. Tonight we are reviewing Trial of a Time Lord. No.
Oh, wow. This will be our last episode.
Okay, that is not sexy.
Yeah, definitely not. Bald Perry? No. All right, and
come on, it's Nicola Bryant. She can actually wear a burlap sack, and she would still make it look sexy. Today, she can wear a burlap sack and still be sexy.
I'm glad you think so. I'm glad you think so, Christian. As you've heard throughout the show already, we do have a guest with us. Christian Basel is with us. Welcome, Christian.
Hello, everybody.
And how would people know you, my friend?
Well, I run a podcast too. It's a Doctor Who one. Oh, yes, I do. I run a podcast, just started recently, the end of last year, called The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And I'm happy to say, and not trying to push any egos, but I'm geeking out as hard as anybody could to make this announcement. We've just landed our iHeartRadio account. So it was a little quicker than I ever thought it. And we actually premiered at the same time Jody premiered. So it was.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is awesome. iHeartRadio. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've heard great things about that. Yeah. I heart it. Yeah.
Yes, they were desperate. They said, "We need a Doctor Who podcast. Who are you?" Okay, we'll take
it. Do you know what a police box is? Yes, you're hired.
Yes, exactly.
That's cool.
What do you think of Jodie? She's kind of cute. Okay, you're in.
Okay, exactly.
Fine.
Well, you could have said the same thing about Peter too. Depending where your orientation.
I don't care what the fangirl said. He is a handsome man. If I grow up and look as half as handsome as Peter Capaldi, I will have accomplished a lot.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I want to have angry eyebrows just like him.
Exactly.
So how can people find you now?
They can go to the main link is the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Traveling TARDIS. The Facebook page started roughly about 6 or 7 years ago, kind of as I wouldn't say a goof or a spoof or anything of that nature, but I had the idea of taking a TARDIS and putting in places where boldly goes where no TARDIS has gone before, and the commonality was to have the TARDIS go in places that the Doctor has not been to. And roughly about quite a few subscribers later, I guess people are hard for entertainment. They like a TARDIS. They like to see it in new places. But it has now a common thread to a lot of celebrities, a lot of cosplayers, a lot of locations. It just, everybody loves to come in contact. It's now something that I used to go to the conventions and go, "Hey, do you want to take a picture of my TARDIS?" To I will go to a convention and people go, "Where's your TARDIS? I want a picture with it right now." I'm like, okay, really? Okay, fine. So he's been a convention's best friend since the day he was born.
No, I remember, gosh, it has been quite a few years since I actually started following you guys. And, it's been pretty awesome.
You're referring to my social media, not around the house.
Right? No stalking here.
Stalking you.
That's how I got these two on the show. What do you mean?
Oh, really?
He won't
Mary's behind my window.
Yeah.
Mary, wow,
thanks.
Mary, that's a great piece of artwork you're working on right now. Yeah. What? Where's that voice coming from? Don't worry about it. You have nothing to worry about. Just become on our podcast. No. Okay, this is going to take a wrong turn. Let's stop right there. Let's
eventually talk about the episode.
No, and folks, we are not even hungover or drunk anymore from New Year's.
Are you sure?
We should be.
But yeah, it's really interesting. I'm glad to have you up here on the show with us, and we are glad to have you guys at home with us. And if you want to follow along, or write us or anything, please write us at eswpodcast@gmail.com. We definitely would appreciate it, and we definitely have gotten some more emails, and we'll read those at the end of the show. So thank you for everyone who has been writing us about the different episodes of Doctor Who, and what we've thought of Jodie as the Doctor, and talking about even us on the show about our point of views and stuff. So we'll be getting all into that after we do our review tonight. So, but let's get started right away. Let's just talk about Resolution.
This is the DNA of the most dangerous creature in the universe.
What?
It's been buried on Earth since the 9th century. It's not going to stop until it's taken control of this planet. It's going to kill anyone that gets in its path.
Does it have a name?
Let's jump in with both feet. It was the first time Doctor Who has done a New Year's special, and breaking with tradition of the Christmas specials, and coming to you live on New Year's Day. Everyone around the world pretty much saw it on the same day, at least, not at the same times.
Wait a minute. Didn't End of Time do a Christmas New Year split? Or am I mistaken?
Didn't they have a two-parter?
It did, but it doesn't really. They just continue.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
this is solely as a New Year's special,
right? Gotcha.
And it was interesting, and I do see your guys' point, but this was, this is going to be a New Year's special, and it brought an old enemy back. And actually, this is the
half
first
the
time.
calories.
Exactly. Well, actually, this is the first time in probably 5-6 years I've actually been excited to see the Daleks.
They missed a great opportunity.
And
they really should have called this Resolution of the Daleks.
Yeah, they should have. I agree with you, actually, Mike.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. They told us it was the Daleks in the trailers. There wasn't anybody who didn't know that the Daleks were going to be in this.
This reminds me of the time that Moffat come back and said, the Master's not coming back. I swear to God, the Master's not coming back. He's not coming back. Oh, it's Misty.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, he was telling the truth, though.
Slightly, yeah. Just like, okay.
Yeah, I don't, I don't know. Whatever Chibnall, expected to do and play coy with that, whatever. That's just that. I mean, I see that. But then, if you're going to keep it secret like that, then when you show the trailers and do all the press and media for it leading up to it, you don't spill it out there too. So it just seemed like it was just one hand not paying attention to what the other marketing hand was doing. So
that happens a lot with the BBC.
Yeah.
They keep it for a long time, and then all of a sudden they spill it the week before or the day before.
Exactly. And that's what they did with this. They basically brought it, said, an ancient enemy and, coming back, and they didn't do anything. But then the last time when they redid the preview for it, of course, they added the exterminate in the last 2
Well, yeah,
seconds.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, this is a sort of reintroduction to the Dalek. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is this is the first ever Dalek to hit Earth.
Well, yeah, that was the implication. He was supposed to be a scout.
In the 9th century.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
that, does that predate any other time we've seen the Daleks on Earth?
On Earth, yes. So, yeah.
That wasn't the question I was asking. It's 2019 and nobody on this planet knows what a Dalek
that was
is?
really ridiculous.
Nobody?
Well, yeah, the Daleks only, had the thing at, invading the Earth with the Cybermen that one time. And
I don't remember Captain Jack retroconning the entire planet in the past history, or Men in Black coming out and neuralizing everybody. So I'm
exactly.
like, nobody.
Or when the planet was transported with, to the other place, when the Doctor and
exactly
had to come rescue the TARDIS, and the TARDIS had to pull the Earth back after all the Daleks were on Earth. Yeah,
Especially if you're in Britain, since the Daleks show up in Britain all the time. But okay, I mean, whatever. I can hand wave that away.
Well, if you remember, though, there were some interesting things that, in the 11th Doctor era, when they did the Dalek during World War II, and and Amy didn't remember what a Dalek was. And he says, "What? They invaded Earth, Don't you remember that?" And she was looking at him like a blank stare. So...
But didn't that have to do with that crack in time, whatever that weird storyline was?
No, it had nothing to do with that.
I don't know. I think he just basically, put it off by jokingly aside by saying, like, you humans, you don't pay attention to anything that's not in front of you, or you have such forgetful memories, or something like that. And
they'll forget it by next week.
I mean, every time, it just, oh man. And there are just some things about this episode when I understand you want to make a fresh start. I don't mind that at all. But when you sort of ignore or go blatantly against anything that has happened in the 50 plus years of this franchise, that kind of stings a little bit. The whole unit's done because of budgetary reasons.
Oh, don't even get me started on that unit joke. I just wanted to put my hands through the screen, grab Chibnall, and just...
Yeah, it wasn't bad enough what Moffat did to the brig. No, now we have to piss all over UNIT.
He was really pissing all over Brexit. I mean...
Pissing over Big Finish. I'm never crying a lot.
No, I agree with Mary. It was totally a Brexit.
Yeah, but at the expense of UNIT.
UNIT.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, well, I don't know if that... I mean, he could still bring UNIT back.
It's easy to bring back UNIT.
Completely, he didn't say they exist or something like that.
Exactly.
But Mike, here's my take on this. I understand Chibnall was pulling a J.J. Abrams. He was just disavowing everything that came from the past and saying, I'm going to start anew. The problem is, and I agree with Mike, you have 50-plus years of cachet knowledge and wonderful villains and stories, and you're going to try to reboot this. The wonderful thing about Doctor Who, and especially after its reboot, is that RTD and Moffat were not afraid to go back in history, take some of the classic stuff, take some of the classic stories, and bring them up to speed and make it make it attractive to classic people like myself who like, oh, there's the Daleks, there's the Cybermen, there's the Centaurans. Maybe they got a little weird, but I mean, that's the beauty of it. You can go back in time and pull out the Bavarians and put them on an episode for about 3.5 seconds.
Oh,
but
exactly.
You got it there. Why would you need to restart?
When you saw Alpha Centauri in that Ice Warriors
Geeked
episode.
out.
Oh, total geek out. But yeah, and I agree with that. And I know Chibnall's slowly trying to bring some of the history back into the show after his first season. And he's talked already about in interviews that I've read with him.
You know,
that
he
season
lies,
2
right?
will be more. Of course.
That's Moffat.
That's Moffat, too.
I mean,
you
like,
know?
yeah. So go ahead. What does he say?
No, let's keep on going.
Like, you can't trust anything the guy says.
No, you can't. You can't trust anything you read on TV or, you know, or hear. It's everything nowadays.
Wow. Okay, I'm not going that far.
But they have their own plotting.
I mean,
no.
Moffat rebooted it also.
Yeah.
You know, it's every show reboots it. I don't.
But you can
have a problem
ease.
with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with going into and I believe in Moffat when he said there are going to be some uncomfortable things that are going to be happening, but that doesn't mean you have to go full on completely off the rails to the point where a lot of my friends are saying, I don't even recognize this show anymore. Who is this? What is this? The best line I think of any Star Trek movie is coming from Captain Kirk. People can be very frightened of change. And what ended up happening is people going like, this is not the show that I not only not grew up with, but I don't recognize the last 10 years with this show. So I think you can weed in something. You can have the Daleks and the Cybermen and then bring in the Weeping Angels and the Ood after.
I disagree with that. I think he's trying to put his personal touch on it the same way Moffat did, the same way RTD did, bringing it in, same way John Nathan Turner did. Going back to old series.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Right now, it isn't working. But I do like what they have done more on the social commentary and such in each episode. I think this last season of Doctor Who, and we're going to talk about it in our next episode when we do our series review. But, I'm going to go out and say it right now. I think they touched on more socially conscious issues this season than they have anywhere in the last 10 years on the show.
Oh, well, actually, I think I'd agree with you on that. I mean, it's done. Some of it was very clunky in how.
Yeah. I know. It's learning.
I totally agree with you there. But you know what? Getting back to this episode.
Yeah, let's come back to that, folks.
Yeah,
come on.
I mean, I like this episode.
I did too. I thought this was
episode. I enjoyed this episode. It wasn't perfect.
No, it wasn't. But in truth,
fun.
It's one of my favorite stories this season.
Yeah, I think it may be, aside from Rosa, I think this is my favorite story of the season.
Mm-hmm. This is my second favorite out of the season.
And I like what he did with the Dalek.
Mm-hmm, exactly. The Dalek.
I like the squid
was awesome.
Piloting Lynn.
When you saw the tentacles coming out of off her back and everything, that was really well done.
Yeah, that was genuinely creepy and creepy idea. I thought that was a lot better than say having the eye stalk coming out of her forehead.
Well, not only that, but Charlotte Ritchie, who plays Lynn. Oh my God, you could tell within her emotion, her face, she was being controlled by the Dalek. And what a bigger, dangerous weapon than a Dalek mixed in with a human. The most dangerous weapon now on the planet.
Yeah,
just one.
She did an amazing job. She really sold it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
a lesser actress would, it could have been very hokey, but it wasn't at all. I didn't feel. I felt it was just creepy.
Oh, the scene when she met the police officer?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that was awesome.
That was, yeah. I mean, she didn't even have to say words. She just gave a look, and that's all that needed to be said. You're being controlled by a Dalek, and you are a badass. That's what I loved about that particular part of the episode. That's why when we were doing a rating of the show, I gave it a higher rating because of that villain. For one time, I actually like the villain that was being portrayed.
No, exactly. And it was nice to have a proper villain other than Tim Shaw this season.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes.
The toothless one.
And I liked how they built how the Dalek built its own case. I liked the way it looked more like a war machine. It certainly didn't look like a Skittle. Last time we had the Daleks brought back all of a sudden. I mean, I thought they did a good job of making it, at least look somewhat devastating, somewhat scary, somewhat horrifying. I mean,
I think I geeked hard when I saw the rockets show up, and then the Dalek balls just pulled in. Here come these rockets. I'm like, yeah, okay, we're badass now.
No, that completely made sense too, and it was like. Exactly. The laser is great, but you need something more than that for it to be the most devastating creature on the planet, type thing. Yeah.
And there was no plunger.
No, there was no plunger. And that was interesting too, because this, I was comparing it a lot to the episode Dalek, the Chris Eccleston episode, where you had the single Dalek going up against the whole army in that base.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt very similar in some ways to that. But I think, in truth, I felt more threatened by this Dalek than I did by that other one. Because this was more of, this is a Dalek, had nothing to lose. It was a scout, and it had more advanced than the other Dalek who fell through time.
All I could think about was when Jodie Whittaker goes into a warehouse and builds her own sonic screwdriver. The Dalek goes into a warehouse, builds himself his own Dalek. I'm thinking like, dude, DIY has something going on with these guys.
I thought it was a nice kind of. I thought it was a nice way to bookend the pilot with this special. If you look at this as a season ender, part 2 kind of thing. But yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of actually similarities between this and a lot of things that are brought back from the pilot in this one too. Storylines, particularly with, Ryan and all that. So, it actually is Chris actually writing a sequel almost to the first one in some ways. And as good and bad as that is, so story-wise, I feel like I really missed something here because I like the idea of the sort of the Dark Ages folks getting together and taking apart the Dalek, putting it in 3 different corners of the earth, so to speak. For all you flat earthers, that works. And we have
it's a big Lego set.
Flat earthers that listen to our show, so we have to appease them. So
all 3 of them.
They have to listen to some show. But anyway,
okay.
So anyway, okay. So I don't understand what do they split up like the creature, or was it like or the machine of it? So
no, the creature.
How did the creature get back together? Like I saw, so we had 2 people guarding the other parts, and then they suddenly dug it up, and then what happened?
Temporal emergency teleports.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the doctor reported that there had been some kind of teleportation to that location. That's how.
I completely missed that. And then I didn't get there were these sort of warriors that were trying to what was their role to guard? Why did they dig them up?
Because they heard the noise coming from, and the pieces started moving because it was.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. Oh, this thing's trying to get out. Let me help it. Like it just seemed it's like if you're guarding something to keep it from
like the one that was in the desert. It knocked out when it started moving. It knocked over whatever temple or statue or whatever was on top of it, and it then teleported out. You saw it, the little light comes and it disappeared out of the bag.
I think I know
it
what Mike is.
It was really
but
what Mike is trying to.
It could have gone better. Yes,
it could have gone better. I think it should have been like the Silver Nemesis with DeFlores when he's finding all these elements to Nemesis. So, I think it would have been much more uncomplicated, for a better term, if somebody were like found the history of the Dalek and thought this was a dangerous weapon to assemble and had 2 of the 3 pieces and now is going into the tunnel for a 3rd piece or something like that. I think that
Plus,
would have been
I really like the idea of
much
these,
more convincing.
These sentinels that over the centuries have been guarding and waiting for, making sure that the Dalek doesn't come back. And it would have been kind of interesting to follow, to meet them and have them help with the ultimate destruction of the Dalek. But no, that was just a throwaway thing, I guess. So, and it really didn't matter because they were really more interested in Ryan and his deadbeat dad anyway.
Oh, you know what would have been cooler? If who was the bad guy in Rosa?
Oh, I don't remember his name.
Oh,
Krasko. If Krasko actually went around and picked up all these pieces.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'm sure we'll see him again next season.
Yeah, no, we didn't need to see him again.
We did not need to see that guy again.
I mean, I agree with you that the whole them digging it up didn't make much sense. I thought it would. That to me is a fault in direction. It would have made more sense for them to stand there heroically waiting for it to appear and then hitting at it with their sword or whatever. So,
I do agree that there was some creepiness to it, and it felt like a little bit of a horror movie, probably more so than anything else this season. So, where Doctor Who is supposed to, scare you and get you behind the couch or whatever, I did feel like that scene, particularly where Lynn encounters it, because I was actually saying out loud, "Don't touch it!" Like I was screaming at the television. I'm like, "Don't touch it!" Like that was just so. I don't care if you're wearing gloves. Like. Don't why would you want to do that?
Yeah,
Judy was yelling at the TV also. She was like going, "Why is she touching it?"
See an alien squid on the wall, leave it alone.
It's not.
It's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore.
See, this episode almost felt like Torchwood to me.
There is
in some ways, yes.
It that way, yeah.
It didn't go as far as Torchwood, obviously, but you definitely see the Torchwood influence Chris Chibnall has brought, and I like the darkness and the creepiness of it. I can definitely see why they didn't air it at Christmas. It was not a Christmas episode, that's for sure.
No, too many deaths in this one.
There were
way
some nice,
too many.
Even some nice small moments in it, like when the poor guard is talking about how he's new and how and his boyfriend. And you're like, you're a red shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought Mitch and Lynn were busy too, so I was kind of glad that they survived. But I was worried about them. I'm like, don't tell me we're spending 20 minutes meeting and talking about them and being interested in them, having their first kiss and everything, and then they're just going to get zapped. They actually, they survived, and I liked them. I liked I liked the development of both of them, actually. Lynn in particular, I thought she was great. So I do agree with that assessment too. She was probably the highlight, as well as seeing the Dalek, the construction of a new form. I mean, they got to give them credit because over 50 plus years they got to keep a different, inventing different looks for them. And this one was pretty unique, and I dug it. And I know we'll be seeing people try to recreate that at conventions, so that'll be fun.
Diet Dalek.
Oh yeah,
half the calories.
I'm looking forward to seeing people with Daleks.
And I love the idea of a claw over of a plunger. I mean that makes it creepier.
That makes more sense.
I was really surprised they because in the beginning, the voice that was, possessing Lynn did not, to me, sound like Nicholas Briggs. So I was very shocked when once he was encased in a metal again, I was really shocked that Nick Briggs did the voice, because I definitely know that voice. And I'm like, oh, he sounds like a normal Dalek. I'm like, that's weird. I expected it to be like, Chris is like, no, we're going to change it up. It's going to be a different voice for the Daleks now.
Yeah, that was my first thought. It was like, oh no, did Chris get rid of Nicholas Briggs too?
Chris,
he was there.
Chris is like, if you worked on Doctor Who before, yes, sir, get out.
Pretty much. Pretty much. J.J. Abrams.
What do you think about the storyline with Ryan and his father?
I liked it. I actually really did. It, being a divorced dad, it kind of made sense to me in some ways. I didn't support his father at all, or, his rationale and his reaction to Ryan. But, I thought it was good how they acted towards each other. And I thought, you do now a little bit understanding more about the father. I think he's still a loser, but, I do think, he wasn't there for the kid at all.
Right.
See, I think the exact opposite. We could have had the whole episode without him. I didn't even know why he was there.
Are you kidding? Without his new microwave thing, we would never have defeated them.
And I was about to say, without his microwave being there,
that wasn't good. That wasn't forcing.
It's just not a microwave. It's also an
that
oven.
Wasn't forcing contrived at all.
Okay,
but
that's contrived. But I don't agree that. I think Ryan's father was very necessary or added.
I do. I agree with Mary, and I thought he was a great addition, and it ironed out some of the things about Ryan. And
see, I think it would have been more, and I had discussed this. I thought it would have been much more. The stakes would have been higher if Lynn were holding the doors of the TARDIS with the Dalek on her back. Because I think we had more of an emotional attachment than to Lynn about what her struggle was than Ryan's father. I think if Chibnall had given it some time, I think we should have seen some flashbacks or something. But the whole first part of the scene was everybody bashing the hell out of Aaron. And I'm like, I'm starting to hate this guy. I don't even know him. So, and that was one of the things. I wish they had.
He wasn't meant to be a likable character, though. That's the thing.
But I needed some dynamic to make him. It didn't have to be likable, but I had to respect who he was, so that when he's standing on the doorway, I'm not thinking, you know what? I think the best thing to happen right now would be Aaron to go with the Dalek into outer space.
See, I disagree.
Here's the difference with that. Yes, Aaron, I think through the course of the episode, and here's what I appreciate about the Aaron storyline. I like the fact that they didn't make him out to be a one-note deadbeat dad guy. You get to know him. You don't love him, but you kind of feel like there's a chance. You're not easily dismissing him, so that the door's open, so to speak, literally at the end. And it's all about Ryan. Like, you don't care so much about Aaron, but what sells that scene for me, and what sold the storyline for me, was Ryan's arc. And this is I think the best I've seen Tuzin in the whole since he's been on Doctor Who.
Agreed.
This guy, I've always thought that this cast was capable of more, and I've been frustrated because we haven't been getting good scenes and good scripts from them. And now I'm really upset because this kid, he's great. And in those scenes, he carried them, and it's his anguish that we're like, we don't want the dad to die because it would destroy him.
I just didn't see the trans. You may have seen it. I just didn't see any build up or transition for Ryan to have an absolution or a resolution, for a better term out there. I mean, Graham said the ultimate line to Ryan's dad, which started the bad thing. The bad thing towards him is this: family isn't about DNA or name. It's about what you do, and you haven't even done enough yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there would have been a better dynamic if Graham were actually on the TARDIS doors with the Dalek on the back, and Ryan.
No, I disagree completely with that. That was one of the best things about this episode was that it didn't focus on Graham.
That's true. Graham.
Yes.
He's become the better companion since.
But he's been totally unnecessary to the show. In fact, he's undermined a lot of what the show's been trying to do this season. When you
exactly, and once again, Yaz was a waste in this one.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's the case.
So
yes, but here's my wait. Can I go back to Ryan's father first?
Of course, this is good.
But my take on Ryan's father was, this is a guy who gives up on everything as soon as it gets too hard for him. The minute things get difficult, he's out of there, and he was even going to give up on himself. When the Dalek was being pulled into the vacuum, he was just going to be like, oh, well, time to go. But Ryan decides not to be his father. He decides not to give up on his father, even if the man doesn't necessarily deserve his forgiveness. So it's like Mike was saying, it's all about Ryan. Ryan has decided not to be the man his father is. He's going to be
in that respect. But then I appreciate Ryan's character more in that respect. I just didn't. Aaron just didn't. I was ready to kick him. Go ahead, take the Dalek with you. I think that made it a strong characteristic for Ryan. But I wanted something from the dad, and I was like, I don't see any valid reason. But maybe that was the case. I just didn't see it.
Yeah,
right. He's not reformed completely. I mean, he's not good. But,
not at all.
No, but I mean, that's part of growing up is realizing you're not going to necessarily get what you need.
Exactly. And that's truthfully, though, I'm sorry to interrupt, Mike. One of the things a child has to realize and on their way to adulthood is when they realize that their parents are just people too. Mm-hmm. And this happened in this episode. And, he didn't want anything to do with his father before. And he actually sat down with his father and actually had discussions and talked to him. And then he showed him, his father, this is where I've been the last few months. I've been traveling through space. I've been showing I'm a person now. And this is also probably the first time Ryan's dad saw Ryan as an adult, not as a little kid anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's what came out of it for me. And I saw that. And, I thought it was brilliant, that part. And, the whole thing of Ryan then running to his father's aid when the Dalek was trying to drag him out into space with him. And, this is, Ryan came into his own in this episode to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ryan not only came out from beneath his father's shadow, but from beneath Graham's shadow.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. The only
okay, like I said, you three saw something I didn't, and I still, and you're opening my mind to a lot of things that I may have not seen. I still wish, and like I said, it's not because just of Ryan's story. I needed something from Aaron, some kind of redemption for something. He didn't have to be the complete changeover. I'm the better father. I'm a better father now right over there, but I did need to see something. And giving it all to Ryan, I think, okay, well, I mean, if that's your perspective, that's fine. You
would have seen that in an RTD or a Moffat episode.
Look, to me, the whole thing, though, was undermined because okay, so the Doctor's big plan to get the Dalek off his back is to open the doors in the middle of space and just see and hope everything doesn't get sucked out. How stupid is that? like I know we're supposed to care, but it was really dumb.
No, at first she put the field around the Dalek so it would get sucked out. She didn't do it so that everybody.
No, just the host.
Out. Yeah,
but. No, just
okay. No, I know what Mike's talking about because
that's the only way.
If a Kerblam package could end up in the TARDIS, why couldn't a Dalek being end up outside the TARDIS?
Heck, we've
Kerblam has better technology than the TARDIS.
Things behind before, Like, oh wait, and we're not going back on history. I get it. This is new. So we're going to ignore everything that's happened in the past 50 years. But to me, I just thought it was a dumb resolution. I just thought she's better than this. Like, it's just one of those, another example that I just don't think they're writing her that smart. And it just frustrates me because she should be the smartest person in the room, any room that she goes into. And they've really, really dumbed her down. And I know some people like it because she's more approachable. She's more identifiable because she's not in someone that knows everything. She's not that but to me, I just find it frustrating because I think it's just a service to her.
I don't think Chibnall's giving her a chance.
No, I don't think so either.
I think there's so much dynamic. I think here's my take on Chibnall as far as I don't know if we're jumping into to Chibnall knows how to write Broadchurch. Chibnall does not know how to write Doctor Who. And he's not saying he can't. And this episode kind of gears to it because this is the man who took John Nathan Turner to task. There's a YouTube video on him doing this. But now I think Chibnall writes more of a drama than science fiction. And that's why you see a lot more heart coming into the series, but now you're seeing less of the sci-fi go out. Whereas Moffat, at the last 2 seasons that he was writing more fantasy. Oh, love is the answer to the solution to this. When? I thought this was a sci-fi show. And you can dip into the fantasy, but you still got to remain the core value of the first 26 years. This is a sci-fi show.
Yeah, I think some of the sci-fi has been dumbed down a little bit. And you could another way to say that, you could say, oh, it's become more accessible to people. So I do that has frustrated me. But yeah, so I just, like I said, I do think though, Jodie really shined in this once again, especially when she was confronting the Dalek. I got the sense that she had faced them before, that she had experience with them. She sold it in the beginning when everybody else was like going, what's wrong? And she knows what it is. She knows it's a Dalek. She knows it's the most dangerous thing in the planet and in the universe. And her misgivings about it really creates a level of tension that helps throughout like the first act of this story. So she does carry that really well. And then when she finally confronts the Dalek, I was very satisfied by that. I thought she did a really great job. To me, it was probably, the moments that we have the Doctor facing off against the Daleks, whether it's Eccleston, Tennant's I don't remember being particularly memorable. Matt Smith did a great job, and now I think Jodie did a great job with it. I just think that, that's a thing that everything, if you're playing the Doctor, you want a moment like this, and I think she nailed it.
This episode is where she felt most like the Doctor.
Agreed.
Yes.
Well, she's one step closer, but the previous Doctors had something in their first episode where you latched on and knew that this was going to be a wild ride with the Doctor. When Christopher Eccleston is going to the Nesting Consciousness and goes, I am talking, we knew that we had the Doctor. We had the space god presence. When David Tennant is in front of the Sycorax and he's going, this planet is defended, we knew then. When Matt Smith is in front of the Atraxes and going, I'm the Doctor, basically run. And it took a while for Capaldi to get his, but he had it in Flatliners and finally said, this planet is defended. And nowhere at that point did Jodie have that moment. And I thought she kind of had it in the scaffolding in the first episode, but she finally got it. She finally got it when she confronted Lynn, the picture of Lynn, the hologram of Lynn. When she went Dalek head on. That's when I saw the glimpse of that space god who's been through the Time War, who's been through the universe, who's fought Daleks, in and out, who's taken on the bad guys, who's beaten up the bug-eyed monsters. I finally saw a glimpse of it, but not all of it full.
Well, go ahead, sorry.
And that's fine. And her predecessors have had that advantage as far as the writing and the directing, and they've had good acting. I can't say, no, I'm not saying that Jodie can't. nobody's given her the advantage, and she's shown it in Broadchurch that she can swing that acting either way, where you're either in tears, either crying at a serious moment, or you're in tears because you're laughing at a funny moment.
I think,
and she just hasn't had a chance.
I guess. I totally agree,
No,
and I think that it's been one of the things that I've been frustrated about with. But I did really like the scene where, at the end when she confronts the Dalek with the group of people, and she's like, "Your last chance," and the Dalek, does what a Dalek does, and she turns to the group and is like, "Okay, everybody heard. I gave them a last chance, right? I really tried to be good. I gave them a last chance, right? Everybody heard me, right? Okay." Now I can do what I need to do and destroy this thing. And I like that. Plus, she can rock a scarf, man. That I love. I love
Oh, I'm waiting for that at the conventions now. I know that's coming out.
She should have sold them online.
Already selling.
Was it like $200 or something like that?
Flash something on the screen. Order now.
So that was pretty awesome.
Nope, that's pretty darn awesome.
Talked about this. Yeah, we've talked about this all season long. How Jodie's been written kind of late and very, very forgetful, very not confident, and kind of wishy-washy sometimes. And I didn't like that either. And I'm glad that that seems to be changing.
I hope it continues with that. But we have a year to do that, to worry about
right?
it.
Yeah. Part of the problem is that she's been running across everything that's been new. And just because it's new to us, it didn't need to be new to her. And that's what I think the mistake was. And so finally, when we get a villain, an entity, a monster, a creature, an alien that she's familiar with, man, she rocks it. And it's like, oh, this has been missing all season. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I think this also is the episode where not only that I feel like Jodie was really becoming the Doctor here, but it sort of felt like this was the episode where Chris Chibnall was really becoming the showrunner, because I think it's his own insecurities that's been coming through this whole.
He's had daddy issues.
I think there's more than daddy issues there, dude.
Yeah.
But
the thing is, I would have, as funny as it sounds, I would have made this episode the first episode, because this is Jodie's Doctor. It's not just this is Doctor Who, this is Jodie Whittaker. This is Jodie's Doctor. And the moment that you were saying, she turned around and said, "I gave him a chance, everybody." That was Jodie's Doctor. This is what defines Jodie and her Doctor. Everybody else had the definition, even though there is a running stream throughout all 14 Doctors, or how many are out there now. All 14 Doctors have a common core base. However, the alien, when the alien finally pops out there and says, "Here I am." And Jodie finally got that moment in this. I saw glimpses, but I would love to see her go dark. She needs to go dark. It's gotta hit her. We got to see the Time War in her face. We got to see her emotions go when she knows that, and when we saw, the Frog Prince in the other dimension, I was like, oh my God, really? I mean, I
don't need her to go dark. I need her, though, to show some hardness.
Well, that's what I mean. I need to see the Doctor again.
Wearing it.
And she's getting there, but
especially
they're not letting
New
her.
Who, there seems to be this, the Doctor without companions is dangerous, and I would like to see that a little bit, just a little bit. It doesn't necessarily need to be like a whole season of it, but maybe just an instance. And certainly when she's up against the Daleks, as we saw with Chris, he turns into a completely different person. like when he goes up against the Daleks, it's like, it's different because it's personal. And if that doesn't get your blood running, then,
Exactly. Nope. Exactly. And I'm sure we're going to talk all about that a lot more next week when we do the season wrap up. So any final thoughts on this episode?
We are at the end. Wow, this was a good talk.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It was a good
Any
talk.
final thoughts before we go ahead and rate?
I hated the music again. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, I was not a huge fan of the music either, and it feels like it doesn't work as a whole. It's like he oversells certain moments with these dramatic flourishes, the composer, but it doesn't. There aren't themes throughout it. There aren't really musical cues.
Well, we're going from Murray Gold, who wrote, practically every character, every scene, every moment, everything, and everything defined about that. But, when the Doctor would come back, there was that one theme. We knew.
Mm-hmm.
This one, it's all kind of garbled. And
it's just
the
kind of
music needs
place.
something. It definitely does.
There's no through
in that way. It does
Yeah.
really remind me of the RTD era because you get these like bits of music that seem to have nothing to do. It's almost like they just went to the vault and used a piece of free music to in that spot or something. It was just like what?
Mm-hmm.
We have no money,
Exactly.
so we'll just
We used all our budget on this on the Dalek. So yeah, there we go.
We went to the symphonic workshop. We found this piano wire and this key. Does anybody want to make anything with it?
And just real quick, also, I'll say that the Dalek blasts, oh man, they look great in this. Like, they look devastating. They look like they hurt. That's a painful way to die. I think they just keep getting better and better with that effect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, once again, this episode looked really good.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
The art direction was great. The CGI for the most part was great.
Exactly, and the cinematography was decent too. Like especially those flashback scenes when they showed like Siberia and the desert, and it was just like, and of course the army had to fight in a rock quarry. Of course.
Well, of course. Where else?
BBC put a coupon out for it.
Exactly.
Well.
Exactly. All right, let's go ahead and rate this. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. All right, Christian, go first.
Can I split a TARDIS in half?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, 3.5.
Yes.
All right, that's easy enough. Mary.
Boy, I think I'm going to give this a 4.5 because I really enjoyed it, and no, it wasn't perfect, but I think it was really good, and a much more fitting finale than the episode before it. This felt like a series finale.
Exactly.
I can see near on Christmas. It was pretty dark and creepy, but I was fine with that. I'm glad they moved it to New Year's because I think it removed a constraint that didn't need to be there. And that was dragging episodes down.
And if I can jump on Mary's note, I get the feel if I were ending on the last episode before this one, I would have thought, 2020, we are in deep trouble. This episode gave me a little faith that, okay, I think they're getting their act together. I think 2020 is going to be a good ride.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I was a little unsure after the last episode, but this one restored my faith, and now I'm really looking towards 2020.
Me too. All right.
Yeah,
Mikey.
I'm going to go with a 4. There's problems to be sure, but the cast particularly outstanding in this. Jodie and is it Tossin? Is that his name? How do you pronounce his name? Okay.
Yes.
I think they in particular just did a fantastic job. Certainly we've seen the Daleks overused, but I didn't feel that was the case here. I felt that it was warranted. It was welcome. If you were going to have if you're going to have her first encounter with a familiar, monster be the Daleks, that it was really well done from that perspective. And like we said, if we kind of use as a template, like, would you show this one to someone who's never seen Doctor Who before? And probably out of almost everything else that Jodie's done with Doctor Who, this one would probably be the most likely one that I would show somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. Most definitely. All right. I'm going to give a 4.5 also, like Mary. A couple little things pulled it down for me, but it wasn't enough that, it wasn't enjoyable. I've watched it twice already, and I'm looking forward to actually seeing this one again. I can't say that really about any of the other episodes this season. And I liked the interaction between Ryan and his dad. It made it for me. And I also loved the Dalek. I thought the Dalek was creepy. The whole thing with it on Lynn's back was awesome. The whole time she was sitting at that computer fighting against it. And the actress was amazing. What was her name? Charlotte Ritchie. She was awesome. And just the pain that she was showing trying to fight it. And then the scene in the police car where the other officer looks up and sees the other police officer's legs dangling out of the car. And it's like just thinking about what she was doing to him and everything. It was great. And this made the Dalek scary again. And, on a side note, though, I want to give a 0 to BBC America for all the frippin' commercials they threw in.
Oh, yes.
It almost felt like they went 3 minutes and then there was another commercial break.
Yeah, it was really bad. And I swear they went through and picked the worst possible
Exactly. And it was just like another commercial break already. It was horrible. And, it almost makes me want to wait to get it on iTunes or something just so I could watch it all the way through. And
I have a question that if you were to watch the full unedited Doctor Who, but you had to sit and endure another 30 minutes, would you do it?
Yeah.
With the commercials they do. I would too.
Yeah, I would.
I was just curious. I was like,
I would have watched 30 more minutes of this story. It was that good. And when the Dalek busted into the telecommunications center, that was just awesome. You hearing the screams and the lasers above that guy, and what's going on up there, and him not knowing really what to expect. It was just awesome.
Just the only thing I take with your 0 on BBC America, not only do they throw in so many commercials, they clip out some of the stuff, and then when I get the DVD and I see, oh wait a minute, where was this in the episode? And it's a crucial moment.
The first showing does not clip anything out.
Really?
When they reshow it,
I gotta check that again.
When they reshow it, they edit stuff out. And that's just how it's Doctor Who has been since they've been showing it here in the States.
Yeah, that's how it's always been. But it's even more annoying.
Because I think the episode was only supposed to be 60 minutes, full 60 minutes, and they added on 30 minutes of commercials, and to make it 90 minutes, it was ridiculous. It truly was ridiculous. And, but, that's my bitch and moan about it, but, we want to hear from you guys at home. What did you guys think? Did you like it? What did you guys feel about the characters? Please write us at, eswpodcast@gmail.com. I'm going to hold off from reading these emails that we got till next week because it's more season wrap-ups, people's thoughts on it. And so next week, since we're doing our season 11 wrap-up, might as well be a little more appropriate then. And we got a great crew lined up for it, so it should be a lot of fun. So let me thank our guest for tonight, though. The last new Doctor Who we have for pretty much 2019. So we'll see you at New Year's next year, folks. Now.
So the show is over for a while.
No. We got a lot coming on. So we got a lot planned already for you guys. But let me thank Christian. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for the invite. This was wonderful. This was a great topic and discussion. I'd love to come back.
Oh, you're welcome anytime, sir. Anything you want to shout out about? You want to give a plug to your podcast?
Absolutely. I always yes, everybody, please check out The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We do put out a show weekly. We will be going to conventions in the Central Florida area, so keep an eye out on that. Just because Jodie Caesar series is over does not mean our show's over. We're going to be doing a lot of discussions, a lot of interviews, a lot of topics. One of the questions you could probably put on your own show, what constitutes a spoiler? And how long do you have to wait before you can spoil?
Depends when the expiration date is, truthfully.
There you go.
There you go. Well, thank you, sir. You're great to have on tonight.
Oh, my honor. This was fun.
And Mr. Mike.
As always, it's my pleasure.
Anything you want to promote or shout out about?
Just stay tuned because we've got some fun things happening. Even though the season is over for 2019, the new season of Doctor Who is over. We're gonna try our best to entertain you the best way we can and help and make sure that the wait is not doesn't feel so long.
Nope, totally understand that. And Mary.
Wow, it's just, I can't believe 2019 over already. But I want to shout out to my sister whose birthday is today.
Happy birthday.
Yay! Happy birthday. It's pretty much her fault I'm obsessed with Doctor Who.
Barbara's birthday. Yay!
Yay! Happy birthday, Barbara.
Yay, that's awesome. And I'm going to just say thank you to everyone who's been dealing with us all season and listening to us and, the good, the bad, and just, ups and downs. And it's been great because, with these two at my side, we haven't agreed all the time, which is great. And, we don't want it to be all kumbaya, joy and happiness and flying through the TARDIS of space and singing and everything. We just, we enjoy just being with each other and talking Doctor Who. And it's something we have all in common. And that's what makes it great hearing from you guys. So we are going to be coming back starting, in another week. We'll be back with our season 11 wrap up. And after that, we'll be coming back every other week until Doctor Who comes back. But we got, like Mary has said, Mike has said, we've got some great things ahead for you guys. So please stick with us. We have stuff. And if you definitely have ideas or suggestions of what we want to talk about, join us up on our Facebook group. We have an amazing group up there. We're also up on Twitter. We also are now, hopefully we'll have, an ESW presence on more social media coming soon, I hope. But, until then, the Facebook group is our main way to get in touch with us throughout the next year. And we have great discussions. Any Doctor Who news will be up there. Any kind of ideas for shows, we put it up already. We've gotten probably a list of 24 things of what people want us to talk about. And it's funny, most people want us to talk all about Big Finish. So I guess we're going to be doing a lot of that during the next year or so. God, that sounds
plenty
horrible.
Of time.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we're going to be doing cons, and we already have 2 Doctor Who cons lined up, and we're looking at possibly a third. So you never know where Earth Station Who is going to be popping up. So definitely, look for us around. And, thank you again. Hope 2019 brought you happiness so far in the 2 days of the year so far since we've been here. And, here's the good things, my friends. Until then, my name is Mike Faber, and we will talk to you soon. Peace. And we're done. Ta-da.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a bi-weekly pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from across the universe. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individual and are used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our podcast up on iTunes, Stitcher, or follow our blog at www.esopodcast.com. You can also follow us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. If you enjoyed the show, please leave feedback up on iTunes.
Welcome to the Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast. I am your host, The Monster.
We are Venom.
I got my own parasite.
Parasite?
Sorry, Venom. I meant symbiote.
That's better. What do you do for fun around here?
I want to do a podcast with you.
What the hell's a podcast anyway?
Well, it's a weekly show where I talk about the latest news in sci-fi, movies, and TV.
You're such a nerd. Now I'm a loser on 2 planets.
The Monster Sci-Fi Show podcast is part of the ESO network. It's sci-fi from a certain point of view.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.